Welcome back, friends and family from YouTube. I'm Old School Mechanic James. Today's video is going to be the continuation of the rebuild of the Mercruiser 4.3 V6 engine. This is part 4. Last time, the part 3 was in regards to the build of putting the pistons in the block. We had cleaned up everything, cleaned up the connecting rods, cleaned up the piston heads, the rings, making sure everything was all set on the rings. We lubricated everything. We put them and tightened them down the rings and then slid it into each cylinder. 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. Everything was done. Did everything as far as connecting everything. Did the plastic gauge. Everything was perfect in line to the specs for what it was required to install pistons in a 4.3. Now today, part 4 is what we're going to do is we're going to put a head on the block. I've already prepped the block. I've got it prepared and everything, but I'm going to go through it real quickly with everyone. And I'm also going to talk about prepping the head and also the bolts that go into the heads. We're going to cover that in this episode, and so stay with me. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out how to edit these videos, make them long, make them short, make them all kind of pizzazz. But I am who I am, and you get what you get. Exactly, because this is what you paid for. Free experience and maybe how to do something a different way than you've already been doing it. So anyways, I want to get to the head. We've actually cleaned it, lubricated it, and I want to show you, this is what I use. Some guys on other videos, they use the smaller wheel to get inside the eyes of the valves, the valve stems and the intake valves and the exhaust valves. They use a smaller wheel to get in there. I only have this, so this is what I use. It's made of plastic. It's real flexible, but it does a real good job of cleaning up the previous head gasket that might have the remains of it on the head. So I cleaned it all up, went through everything, got it nice and smooth and clean. There's no debris, nothing on it. I done hosed it down with the air hose several times. So the head is ready to go. The other thing I want to show you guys, which you probably already know, and I talked about it in my previous videos, is these little wheels, these steel wheels. They're really good to take off a lot of debris also, but you got to be careful on what you use it on. You just can't use it on the surface of a head. You can't do it, you'll scratch it. You can't do it on a piston. You can do it on certain parts of the block, but you got to be real soft and gentle cleaning off excess debris. So I use these mainly to clean my bolts. I'll take my head bolts, and I have the previous debris on them, and I'll just go at it. You know, I'll just clean them up, smooth them out, get all that sealing on it from the previous build. That's basically all you have to do is just keep cleaning it all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. Make sure all that gasket sealing is removed. At the very top of the head, make sure you touch it up a little bit, because the head is very important on these bolts when we go to torque it down. You want no debris in there. And I'll show you how to lubricate that section right there. You want to lubricate it a little bit with oil. We're going to use oil on this episode along with seal gasket. Okay, so we got that all done. We got the head here. We're going to take it over to the block. I'm going to get you set up. I'm going to show you how I'm going to put the head on. The head gasket's already on it. And we're going to do one side of the engine so you got an idea. And we'll take care of that. And we'll move forward after that and see where we're at. So I'm going to take you over here. Bear with me. Make sure everything's set up. So here's the block. I'm pretty sure you can see the head gasket's already on it. Already cleaned it up. I already cleaned the pistons up too. I went ahead and used some of the same plastic wheel, and I cleaned up each piston. Each piston is nice and clean. I did a lot of air compression to blow away any kind of debris. I wiped it down about 50 times. Okay, not 50, about 5. But but you know, you do what you have to do to keep it clean. So we're going to start right here. I'm going to show you a little more preparation that I want to do with you guys. Okay, first of all, I got my air hose. So yeah, you can continue to blow off any kind of debris whatsoever. Air is your friend. You can use it as much as you want and try to continually, I don't know where you're at and what your location is, or if you're outside, inside, but man, you want these blocks as clean as possible. This head gasket, I shared in an earlier video. I got it off Amazon. I did a lot of research, a lot of filter work for 4.3 V6 between 1988 and 1999, and this pulled up for a Chevy Trailblazer 4.3 1992. I think it was a 92, and it was for $10, guys. $10. It's the same head gasket as the Mercruiser 4.3. Now the Mercruiser 4.3, $42. These were $10. I got two, one for each side. Same material, same everything. It lines up perfect on the cylinders. Not a different issue to it. The only difference was a marine part versus a OEM GM Chevy part, and it was a lot cheaper. So the block is already cleaned up. It's already been prepped. Now what I like to do is I like to put a little oil on these things. In here I got Mercruiser. I'm not sure if it's 5.20 or what kind of weight it is, but it's the recommended version of the silver, Quicksilver. It's clean oil, fresh, brand new. So I like to lubricate the cylinders. So we're going to lubricate the cylinders. I always like to put a little oil in there just to take care of those rings, because those rings are going to start up, and you want to have some lubrication in your piston, so those rings don't scratch your cylinder wall. So basically, I go all the way around, do both sides, whichever piston's down, put a little oil in there, right? Then you can turn it over. I use my little crowbar here, got my harmonic balancer bolts, and turn it one time. Bring one up, bring one down. Do the same thing, repeat the same thing. It's really that easy. Put a little oil in your hand, a little in the cylinder. You know, we're prepping this engine to build it the way we want it to be built, just like if it was in a machine shop. But you can do it yourself. It's not that hard. You know, you think it's hard. I've never done it. When I was younger, I said, I've never built an engine. I always want to build an engine from the bare block. I found a couple of different blocks. They were like $100 or less, and sometimes I got them for free. The guy didn't know much about them. Tore them down, cleaned them up, took them to the machine shop. They fired them up, put them in an oven, checked for cracks, checked for any kind of alignment, checked for any kind of honing issues for the cylinders, 30 over, 40 over, 60 over, and man, I took a bunch of those bare blocks and built them and made engines, race car engines mostly. So this is my first marine engine. Once again, you get back here, you go ahead and crank it over again one more time, bring up another piston. Okay. And then lubricate it again. All the way around. Get some nice oil on there. Alright. We ain't gonna worry about the timing and all that. That'll come later when we put the timing chain on. Then we'll set the #1 cylinder up. And it's nice to do it with everything off, you know. You can bring that, like over here is the #1 cylinder. I'll bring that to the very top before I put the head on. That'll be just before I put the head on and the timing chain and everything. So we're all lubricated. I'm going to spin it a couple more times just to get that oil flowing. Alright. Don't be afraid of putting some oil on this thing. Alright. Alright. So there we go. Now, I even like to put a little lubrication, and we don't have to right now, we can do it later, but I'll put it on my cam. I'll put it a little bit everywhere. It's nice fresh oil, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. There we go, we're all set up. So let me go grab the head. And I don't put any extra lubrication between the head gasket and the head. You don't want to put any more lubrication. You don't want to put no oil on it. You don't want to put no sealant on it. You don't want to put nothing on it. Leave that head just like it is. And basically, what we're going to do, I like to turn my engine over to where the head is sitting upright, where I can just lay it on top. It's the best way to do it, guys. Just take your engine stand, move that engine block all the way over to here. That way you got your head right on top. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but yeah. I set the head right on there. Here's my 2 dowel pins right here. Put that on. I don't bend anything, scratch anything. I don't have to slide it around. All I gotta do is lay it down. I'll try to line up the holes. Just like that. Look how easy that was. It's on. I'll clean it again. I'll hose it off again. I'll check anything else I need to check, but that thing is on. Head gasket's there. Now, for my bolts, it is recommended in some YouTubes, Googles, wherever, dealers, machine shops, some say use Permatex, a brush, just brush a little bit on these head bolts. Other ones say just use regular sealant, high temperature, just a little bit. Other people say don't use no sealant, just put it in oil and stick it in there. Well, this is going to be in an area where high temperature water flows through that block. And you don't want it to seep out in any way to any of the head bolts. I don't know, I mean, I'm not inside the drilled hole, which I cleaned them out. I don't know if there's something in there. Even it could be a hairline crack. But why not be safe? You know, the old school way is better to be safe than sorry. You've heard that before. So I'm going to coat this little bit of threads here. Not a lot, just a little, because I want this bolt to go all the way down and seat. Okay? Not a lot, just a little. Okay, now I'm going to take a little oil here. Some guys do it, some guys don't, but I want to put a little oil at the base, because when I torque this down, I want this thing to slide all the way to where it's supposed to be torqued at 30, then I'm going to do 50, and then I'm going to do 70. I think it's recommended 65. I'm going to play with it right in there, 65 to 70. But I'll slide these in, finger tighten them a little bit. Okay, do the next one. I'll try to speed this up because I talked to a guy the other day, he said there's a way to do it before I even upload the video that I can make this time speed up. So I'm going to check into that and see how he does that. Let me put a little oil on here. Yeah, just throw a little fresh oil at the head bolt at the very top. Screw her on down. Okay, the next one. It's a pretty quick process. Just a little bit of sealant on there. Yeah, we got those pistons in the last time, and everything went real good. Had the crankshaft already in there. I put on the oil sump. I didn't do a video on that, but it's pretty easy to put your oil pump in there. It's one bolt. Stick it in there. Stick your rod down, making sure everything's clean. That's the bottom line, making sure everything's clean. Well, it went on perfect. Now I ordered a oil pan gasket from eBay. I went on Amazon. I'm a smart shopper. You know, I'm a bargain shopper, smart shopper. Heck, if I can find coupons, I'll grab coupons, you know. Why not, you know? Why not? Why throw your money out on the ground? If you're a rich man, getting richer, go for it. But if you're a person that watches your pennies, dimes, and nickels because you enjoy your hobbies and you want to continue them, no matter how bad you know, we all have a certain cutoff. We all know when it's to the point where it's affecting our family life. Any kind of hobby you do, any kind of restoration, you know where you're at, but you gotta have discipline. You gotta know when to shut her down. Sometimes I have to get rid of stuff. There's no need to have it. Okay, I'm gonna do the upper ones. Now, one thing I noticed I didn't do is the oil, but I decided I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna put the oil on after I put these in. So there's two shorter bolts. Most people know this, but if you don't, there's two shorter bolts for the top part of the head. The shorter ones go on the very end. So stick it all the way down in the very end. There's one on one side, and then there's a short bolt that goes on the other side. Again, we're just putting a little bit of head gasket, a little bit of sealant on there. I use RTV high temperature, the red one. I use the red stuff for this. I just like to have it as much heat resistance as possible, because these heads and your headers and everything, your exhaust, man, that temperature gets super hot. That is the area you want to concentrate on to keep the temperature down. Water temperature down. You make sure your thermostat is working. You make sure your radiator is full of water and antifreeze if it's recommended. I mean, it's very important to keep that temperature down so it don't affect your parts on your motor. Your crankshaft and your cam bearings and the main bearings, they all run off the oil from the oil block, as most of you already know that. So changing your oil is always a good deal. It's a good thing. Now they say most times on a boat you want to change your oil at least once a year, because how often do you take your boat out to the lake? To be honest, unless you live on the lake, you're out there 4 to 6, maybe 8 times in a year, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know how many guys, some guys are in fishing tournaments, they got bass boats, they're out there quite a bit during the fishing season. I mean, you could probably go 10, 20 times, maybe even more. But for the average boater, the pleasure boat guy, the guy that just stores his boat in a storage, or for me, I'm fortunate to have a little land where I can put it in my carport, and I can put a cover over it and just leave it there. You know, you got to winterize it, like everything. Everything you own that has gas, including garden tillers. I have a garden tiller, and I didn't winterize it, drain gas and everything. Well, you know, gas sitting in a little 2-cycle engine will just rot everything. Rot the gaskets, the seals, the idle needles. I mean, it just clogged everything. Thank God for seafoam. So all the bolts are in. Now what I'm going to do is stick a little oil at the base. Instead of doing it at the cap, I'm going to do it at the base. I just realized it's a little easier to do it like that. You know, just go all the way around, stick a little oil down there under every bolt. It doesn't hurt. The more oil, the better. Kind of like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. Oil cat, oil cat. He needs more oil. Bet a lot of you don't know that one. The old Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. Anyway, he needed oil. He needed a lot of oil. Okay, so we're going to tighten these down. Finger tight, hand tight, however you want to call it. Yeah, just bring it around, tighten her down. I could use an impact wrench, but I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to tighten down. It won't take too long. I know the video is going to be longer. I'm trying to go as fast as I can for you guys. And again, I promise I'm going to try to find a way to edit so we can make this a lot easier, a lot quicker. Because for me, I can watch the video for 1 minute to 2 minutes on somebody putting in bolts or doing something, but hey man, move on to the next part of the rebuild. You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm old school, but I don't have a lot of patience. I have a lot of T-shirts that says, "Hey, I got to this age, now I can have an attitude." Uh-oh, looks like we're missing a bolt. All right. All the way down. Okay, we're missing one bolt. Where is it? Whoop! Somebody heard that? There it is. Got caught in my towel. I like to have a lot of rags in my garage. I have rags for soiled rags, dirty rags, that take them down to the nearest laundromat without anybody looking. And wash all my dirty, greasy rags. Laundromats are really good for that. You don't want to stick it in your house laundromat. Don't tell nobody. It's our secret. But yeah, I like to have a basket full of clean rags. I take a lot of my wife's old towels. Now I'm telling a story. And when they're old, I'll cut them up in little squares. And then I'll put them in my clean crate. I got crates. Put the clean ones and the dirty ones in the dirty. Okay guys, so I'm going to tighten these down. And I don't know if I'm going to go much further in this video because I don't want to bore everyone. I mean, you know the torque sequence. So I'm going to let you guys figure the torque sequence out. It's in the videos. Okay, I'm going to put this head on. After I'm done with this head, we're going to go the other side and do that head. I'm going to make sure everything's cleaned up, put the head gasket on, blow everything down, get it set at top dead center on the number 1 cylinder, and then this harmonic balancer is going to come back off because I got to put the timing chain in, line up the 2 sprockets. I'll do another video on that, put the timing cover on it, and man, we're moving right along. We're hoping to get this done hopefully in the next 3 to 4 videos. I'm going to have this thing already put together. I got to do a couple things, and then once I got it all put together, we're going to test it out here on the ground. I watched a few videos. I learned from other people. It's really easy to test these motors sitting on the ground. All you need is gas, water, a good battery, and the right wiring harness to connect everything, and she'll fire right up on the ground. Stay tuned. I'll get back with you guys. Once again, I'm Old School Mechanic James. Hot diggity dog.